What's going on, everyone? This is Cadman Cycling. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Back for another race in Watopia. We have a big group today. This is Oh My Crit. It's race 1 of 2. I completed just the first half of it, but this is the Beach Island Loop. We'll take 2 laps around for a total of 25.8 kilometers. About 16 miles and 98 meters of elevation gain. So not a whole lot of elevation here. Decently long race, but pretty flat for the most part. And this is an all category C race. So all 111 riders, 112 it looks like it just jumped up, are category C, which is my category. And this race is from December 23rd. This video should go live the 24th, so Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone. Hope you're safe and get to enjoy it with some friends and family. It's an interesting season, especially where I am, because we really haven't gotten much snow yet. There were a few flurries here and there every week. We had a decent snow maybe a month ago, but looks like it'll be a pretty warm Christmas. So with that being said, jumping into this race, it's really strung out at the start. So just looking at the top right map, as I see a gap start to form in front of me, a little bit dangerous here, but anytime you get over 100 riders, it'll take quite a while for these groups to form, but when they do, you can't be caught kind of on the outside looking in. So I go ahead, kind of up the watts a little bit to make sure I jump into this front group. It wasn't exactly my plan going in, actually. During my warm-up, the legs weren't really having it, so kind of going in, I knew I had to conserve energy as much as possible. But like once you're in a race situation, it's so hard to kind of dial it back. So we'll go ahead and skip forward. Now about 5 kilometers into the race, still with this front group, but we just completed a little bit of a climbing section. Again, mostly flat race, but there is a bit of a dirt uphill that really broke apart this group. So looking at the mini map again on the top right, just shows the remains of what the front group was. So we had about 50 riders, I would say, in the front group. Just looking kind of how much it's blown to pieces and how strung out it is now. I'm somewhere in the middle as we're nearing the sprint section, but my heart rate's high. Again, my legs are starting to hurt pretty early in this race. We're about halfway through the first lap out of 2 total laps. There was a short lead in as well. But at this point, I kind of decide I'm content kind of hanging off the back. It looks like there's a few splits happening. There's a pretty big split behind me, so I did make the front group, but this front group is still very strung out. I'm gonna see what happens here. It looks like there's a bunch of about 4 or 5 riders ahead of me starting to form, and then a pretty large gap then to the front group. So like I said, I'm kind of already on my limit here, so I'm not working to try to bridge up to the very front group, knowing it's still early in the race. I really want to settle in and find a watts per kilogram output that feels good for me today. So starting to bunch up a little bit here. It looks like there's 7 of us that have kind of now been dropped by the front group. So that was the front group on the road. That little hilly section kind of dropped us, and now we're starting to form this small second group. Most likely won't be able to catch that large group in front of us that now has about 35 riders in it. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and skip forward again. Still with this same group, now having just finished the first lap of 2, so we're over halfway through the race. Heart rate is still pretty high. I've been managing to hold on, but I'm really not doing much work on the front. There's another large group about 8 or 9 seconds behind us. They were about 17 seconds behind a few minutes ago, but they're definitely catching us, so I'm kind of starting to fall off the back of this group. Again, a pretty small group, but we were working pretty well together. Again, kind of just finding myself on the limit. So what I ultimately decide to do here is let this group kind of go ahead in front of me, knowing I'll get a short rest, but then immediately have to jump back in another group. And there's a lot of race left, so there's just under 12 kilometers left. that larger group behind us was definitely moving faster than this front group. It looks like it has at least twice as many riders. I think we had just 5 to 7 of us in that group. So I let myself drop off. We'll go ahead and skip forward to when this group has now caught us. Or caught me as I fell off the back, and skipped forward to a point where now we're about to catch that group that I was originally on in front of us. The catch is happening right now. So it was a much larger group behind. It was probably 3 or 4 times the size of just the 5 of us we had in the front. So ultimately didn't make a difference. I dropped off that first group, but ultimately both of the groups came back together. And now we're the second group on the road. So there's a few stragglers continuing to fall off that front group, but they're pretty far ahead of us now, probably a couple minutes. So this becomes the largest group that I'll do my best just to settle in now. Really, it's at this point of the race where I start finding it hard to even hold 200 watts. The legs just didn't have much in them today, so I'll do my best to kind of just sit exactly where I am now, either in the middle of the pack or in the back, but making sure I'm still kind of not tailing too far off the back. Don't want to get dropped. Don't want to put in any big surge, because I'm really not sure if I have a surge left in me. So I'll do my best for the time being just to kind of hide in the middle in my white Trek jersey. Like I said, this is a pretty flat course, but we are approaching kind of this dirt section and a little bit of a riser. So we have a big group here, but getting close to the finish, just 8 kilometers left. I ended up getting dropped on that section. So the front group's kind of riding off into the distance as we go ahead and skip forward, just 5K left now. Find a group of 2 to work with. It looks like we have another large group a minute and 10 seconds behind us, but there's just 5K left. So we have just been dropped by that front group. They're just moving way too fast for us. Won't be able to catch them now. So the goal now is, can the 3 of us work together to keep that group behind us kind of at bay for the next 4.5, 5 kilometers? And that's exactly what we try to do. To be honest, I don't have much left in the legs. So I'm kind of relying on this rider in front of me, who seems like he's pretty strong and did a really good job of kind of leading us through those 5 kilometers. So we dropped the other Canadian rider, but I was honestly just on this guy's tail the entire time. So we're now 300 meters from the finish. That group behind us got closer. They're now 30 seconds behind, but we were able to stay ahead of them. Didn't have much left for a sprint, but also this guy in front was doing all the work for the last 5K, so I kind of lay off and let him take the lead. Didn't want to try to sprint by him at the very end, since he was really the reason we didn't get caught by that last group. So didn't have a whole lot today. Still a fun race, and like I said, guys, enjoy the holiday season. Really, from me and mine to you and yours. I hope you get to spend time with friends and family. That's what this season's supposed to be all about. So 272nd, not the best finish. That includes all categories. I'll throw up the C category. I finished in 36th. So stronger races to come. Last race before Christmas. So good workout. Had a lot of fun. Guys, thanks for being here. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you on the next one. This is Cadman Cycling. Bye.